Guys, hope you're doing well as always and welcome back to another video. Today we are unfortunately going to be talking about Arsenal and what transfers they need to make in order for them to win the Premier League this year. As things stand, Arsenal are top of the Premier League after 17 games, 5 points ahead of Manchester City. They are absolutely killing it this season, but the lack of options within Arsenal's squad is going to be a massive problem if an injury crisis hits, especially following a Winter World Cup. We've seen that at my club Chelsea, and the less said about our situation the better. In my opinion, Arsenal massively need to strengthen these 5 areas if they really want to continue their challenge for the Premier League title. As always guys, if you are new, please make sure to subscribe, like the video and comment down below any other teams you want me to look at or any other video ideas. As I said last time round, it helps me out a lot. Honing in on Arsenal though, looking at the 2 key injuries that they've got out at the moment, Gabriel Jesus is expected back on the 25th of February and Reiss Nelson is out for a long time, if we're putting it very bluntly. I've taken into account Arsenal's transfer policy of trying to sign young players. After all, they've got the youngest squad in the Premier League, but there's also a sprinkle of experience in there because I think that is important for a young dressing room. But the first position that I think Arsenal really need to sort out is a star right back. And first and foremost, Cedric Soares absolutely needs to be sold, with the Portuguese right back just not good enough to get first team football at the moment. Even with the lack of options for Arsenal, he's still only managed 27 minutes of Premier League football this season. Ben White has been a makeshift fullback and he's been competent but not excelling compared to other possible options on the market. And signing a new right back will allow Ben White to move back across into the central of defence and become competition for the current unrivaled duo of Gabriel and William Saliba. Rob Holding is not good enough to slot into that team anymore, and quite frankly he needs to go as well. But focusing on right back, the first option that I'm going to be talking about is Malo Gusto. I spoke about him in the Chelsea one and I'm a massive fan of this player. He suits the physical style of Arteta's current fullbacks. He's slim, he's fast, he's nippy, and he's already a regular for Lyon, which fits into Arsenal's transfer policy of signing first team ready young footballers. He started 82% of Lyon's games this season alone and 35 games over this season and the last combined. He's an accomplished passer of the ball as well, completing 83.6% of his attempted passes with 2.56 shot creating actions a game, displaying his usefulness going forward. And it's not just his ability on the ball that's so impressive, with 1.4 interceptions per 90 minutes, putting him in the top 17% of fullbacks worldwide. And last season, when he was faced by dribblers, he was successfully able to make a challenge 60% of the time. So evidently, despite Ligue 1 status, he is already a reliable option. And with his age of only 19 years old, there's plenty of room for this player to grow and develop and mould into the specific player that Arteta wants in his team, with a lot of media outlets comparing him to the likes of Danny Carvajal and Alphonso Davies. That's not a bad conversation to be brought up in. He's already capped for France under-21, scoring 1 goal and 1 assist in 7 games, with the world at his feet looking forward. He's already a reliable short-term option and a player who can really develop with regular Premier League game time. Another key area where Arsenal need to strengthen is in that holding midfield. Thomas Partey is a fantastic player for them at the moment, but as I said at the beginning of the video, Arsenal aren't really blessed with strength in numbers for a lot of key positions. Without a shadow of a doubt, this is one of them. Now, 24-year-old Douglas Luiz has been linked with Arsenal, and he's an okay rotation option, but he doesn't really challenge Thomas Partey as well as some other options on the market in that position. Another player that's been linked with Arsenal that I think is a much better option is Declan Rice. Now, his contract expires next year, so West Ham are almost certainly going to be trying to offload him if he's unwilling to sign a contract so they don't lose money on him. And their poor league form this season makes Rice signing an extension even more unlikely given the interest shown from the quality of other clubs. Without question, he is one of the best players in England's team and also one of the best players in the world in his position. He has a 90.3 pass completion rate, holding him in the top 4% of defensive midfielders worldwide, along with 1.8 interceptions per 90. At just 23 years old as well, this man has got so much tournament experience. He's played in the quarterfinal of the World Cups for England, the semi-finals of the Europa League with West Ham, and obviously the final of the 2021 Euros. And another bonus for signing this player is he's already a strong leader. Since Mark Noble left the club, he's become the West Ham captain who leads the team on and off the pitch and is very vocal in both aspects. He's obviously a very strong candidate for this position, and if Arsenal move for him, he's definitely not the wrong decision. However, the man that I think Arsenal need for that position is Ibrahim Sangare. Now, he's got 4 years left on his contract, which on paper makes him look like an unlikely and difficult option to pursue, but with his reported 35 million euro release clause, he would be a very strong option to challenge Thomas Partey for first team football. He's played Europa League football this season for PSV and is a 1-time Dutch Cup winner and 2-time Dutch Super Cup winner. So at 25, he's already got trophies in his cabinet and a player that can bring a slight winning mentality to this Arsenal dressing room. He's in the top 3% of defensive midfielders for tackles tackles per 90 with 3.5 per game and 2.12 interceptions per 90, putting him in the top 2%. Now, obviously, you've got to compare the quality of the division that he's currently playing in to that of the Premier League, and without a shadow of a doubt, there is a gap. But in the Eredivisie, he is without question exceeding and will be an excellent option, in my opinion, to break into the Premier League, and I think he'd take to it like a duck to water. His passing is superb as well, averaging an 85% completion rate and 5 progressive passes a game, indicating his composure on the ball and willingness to be of good use in starting counter-attacks. He would be an excellent signing for any Premier League team for a good price. And at 25, there's still plenty of room for this man to grow and get even better as he gets the occasional opportunity to play rotating with Thomas Partey, as well as providing another great option for Mikel Arteta this season. Similar to the last position, I'm looking at a defensive playmaker, so not someone that's primarily used to winning the ball back, but also good at progressing the ball forward, and his distribution has to be on point. Granit Xhaka's aging, and despite being seemingly a new man, he is still a loose cannon at times, so it's handy to have some extra cover in that position. Now, Toni Kroos, I think, would be fantastic for Arsenal in this position. We've already seen the impact that Casemiro's made at Manchester United, but the star man alongside with Modric in that Real Madrid team is without question Toni Kroos. He's in the top 1% of midfielders for passes attempted a game, averaging 96.5 per 90, with a completion rate averaging of 91.4. He creates on average 3.6 shot creating actions a game, displaying an immense quality in his passing display. Despite being older than Cesc Fabregas when he came to Chelsea, I can see this being a very similar signing in addition to the team, as a jewel within that midfield crown. And as we know how well that went for Fabregas at Chelsea, he won 2 Premier Leagues, an FA Cup and a League Cup. Now, Carlo Ancelotti has come out recently and he has expressed his confidence in Toni Kroos signing a new contract, and there are doubts that he would accept a move away from Real Madrid midway through the season. But I do think that he will be worth the investment now or at the end of the season if Arsenal can get their hands on him, bringing an already mentioned and extreme winning mentality to that Arsenal dressing room. Given how unlikely this transfer is to come off, the number one priority that I've put on Arsenal's list is Yuri Tielemans. He's another player whose contract's expiring and another player who I'd love to see at Chelsea. This is what I had to say about him last video. He's got a 40 million market value, but he's in the last year of his contract. Similar to Skriniar, I feel like there could be some wiggle room with that price negotiation and even potential for a free transfer at the end of the season. He's 25, strong in the tackle, making 2.8 per 90, and with 4.6 progressive passes per game, it shows his intent when he receives or wins the ball to play that ball forward and try and make things happen, which I think we really need. He fits that deep playmaker role perfectly for me, and he's already got a wealth of Premier League experience. Moving further up the pitch and onto the winger position, Saka, Martinelli and Smith Rowe are all fantastic options, but as I keep saying, depth is essential for any team who wants to try and mount a title charge, and I think one more winger is absolutely crucial for that. Getting it out there straight away, I think Modric, who they are rumoured to be within touching distance of signing, is ridiculously overpriced and so far from being worth it in my opinion, especially for 80 million. It's disgusting. You've got the likes of Wilfried Zaha, whose contract's expiring at the end of the season, but I think he is incredibly overrated and wouldn't get anywhere near enough football for a player of his ego. My choice, which I think is so much more financially responsible, and a player who has just come out and said that he wants to leave his current club, it's Leandro Trossard. He's got 7 goals from an XG of 4.4 this season and 2 assists in 16 games. He's been an imperative focal point in that Brighton attack this season and been essential in the way they've overperformed. He averages 5.94 touches in the opposition box, putting him in the top 15% of wingers, and similar to the numbers of Saka and Martinelli, who average just over 6 per game. Now, he's not as useful defensively compared to the likes of Saka and Martinelli, who are not afraid to stick a leg in, drop back when needed, so that's something that he'd absolutely need to improve on. But as he rotates with someone like Martinelli, that's something that he can definitely pick up on, and something that Arteta can definitely teach. On the other hand, his more direct approach could be very useful tactically, especially if being brought off the bench in need of a goal. And that could be a slightly different tactical avenue for Arteta to go down. He brings a winning mentality from his rise at Brighton and winning the Belgian top division with Genk. He's reportedly left Brighton, and with his already low market price, the player's actions have driven that down even further. And I think he's definitely worth a punt for some of these top sides like Arsenal to go in and make a move for him, especially based off his current Premier League form. The final position that we're going to be talking about for Arsenal is a rotation striker. Competition brings out the best in people, and especially footballers, so it's probably a good idea to give the likes of Nketiah and Gabriel Jesus, another player breathing down the back of their neck, to give them pressure to keep performing well and stay in the first team. Now, my option for this position is an absolute bargain. It's Marcus Thuram, who's reportedly available for £15 million from Borussia Mönchengladbach. His fee allows him to have no pressure on becoming a star player. He's so versatile as well across that front line, which makes him a no-brainer in my opinion. When you need a striker and wingers already, why not get a player that can do both? He's got 10 goals and 3 assists in 15 Bundesliga games this season, bettering his last 2 Mönchengladbach campaigns combined. Compared with Gabriel Jesus, who's got 5 goals and 5 assists this season, he's a more direct goal-scoring threat than Gabriel Jesus, whose speciality is within that build-up play for Arsenal this season. He's in the top 7% of forwards for non-penalty goals this season, averaging 3.65 shots per 90, which isn't too dissimilar from Jesus' 3.42, but his more clinical output this season is emphasised by his goal-scoring return compared to Gabriel Jesus'. Jesus' importance within Arsenal's build-up play is reinstated by his superior passing stats over Marcus Thuram, with Jesus completing 325 passes this season compared to Thuram's 185. Now, this isn't necessarily a negative. As I've already said, he's a fantastic, more direct option than Gabriel Jesus, and bringing this man off the bench when you're chasing a goal or just going for a different tactical approach at the start of the game could be absolutely crucial. It would spoil Arteta for choice in that regard and give him multiple options on how to set up his team and how to chase a goal, and makes his side less one-dimensional. Without a doubt, it's an alternative choice that can bring a fresh perspective into the way that Arteta sets up his side. Now, if a like-for-like replacement's what Arteta's looking for up top, then maybe Marcus Thuram isn't the top player to go for. But in my opinion, I think he's a worthy transfer target to go for due to his cheap market value, versatility, and goal-scoring ability, whether it's coming off the bench or in a slightly different setup that requires his playing style. So, ladies and gents, that does bring us to the end of another transfers video. Let me know if you have enjoyed and what other teams you'd like to see me do. I've got a couple of exciting transfer videos planned already, so I'll see how many more I can squeeze in. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Take care as always, and peace and love.